tell anyone this is a secret. And you've already said something about secrets right before that. And I think you could end with don't tell anyone in that sentence and not repeat the word secret again. But again, these first ones are little things. And then at one point you say something about the prefrontal cortex, and then in the next sentence you call it the frontal cortex, but I think you still mean to call it the prefrontal cortex. I think it's the Mayo Clinic and not the Mayo Clinic, but other people could disagree with me. All right, those are super picky little things. Then I really liked how much research you had, but there was a lot of it, and a lot of it was like stacked on top of each other without explaining to me what like you wanted us to get from that research. So maybe some of the sentences in between the research or spread those out. Or you could, I think you could even take out a few pieces of them just because you had a lot, which was awesome, especially for research nerds like me. But I was like, what do you want me to know? Oh, I got to think about this next thing because she just told me something else. I thought you did a good job like with speed differences. Sometimes you talked faster and sometimes you talked slower, and that was helpful for me. And then I want an answer to your question about Bess, even if it's I don't know. Even if the answer is I don't know. I just was like, she just said a question. And she's talking.
I was hoping you would answer it.
Maybe other people feel differently, but I really wanted I don't know.
So when she says, did she pass away from this? You want her to say, we may never know for sure.
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay.
What do you think about? I want to know what you think about that. Even if it's I don't know, it's fine. It was funny. Okay, I gotta stop that.
Awesome. Thank you, Heather. Who's next?
Okay, Mary, you gonna go?
No, go ahead, Dana.
I'll ditto on the Mayo Clinic, and I loved when you said about Bess's death, and the way you said, her untimely death, and I don't remember exactly how you put it, was it caused by this, whatever you said, and then you paused. I mean, there was this, oh. And then if you want to say, we'll never know, blah, 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 yeah, but I love that pause. I mean, that was...
and that was intentional, so that was why I was hoping that people could stop to think for a moment about connecting that research and the stress and those diseases with the fact that my grandmother died of heart disease, but maybe that didn't come off.
No, I think it's coming off.
Connection.
I got it. No, totally got it.
I got it.
Doing it.
I think for like, let's say this, because like for mine, there's a ton of research. And I'm thinking, I got 8 minutes. I have 8 minutes. I can only use this much research for this talk. And when I do my TEDx, then add a bunch more. So you may need to pick some of that out just for this talk.
That's a second vote for a little more streamlined research. Cool. Okay, Mary?
Well, I don't have too much to add on top of that. I thought the stories were wonderful, and I liked how they were placed. And that pause afterwards, I was waiting for more, but I think in that frustration and that confusion, it brings us to that emotional component of how frustrating this is. Like, we don't know, but there is evidence that proves that it does contribute. So I don't think you need to add anything personally, but because I like to frustrate people and mix up the pots. I thought you had a great balance of research and the info and a pretty good flow with everything, and you spoke slow enough that I could follow really well. So that's all I have to add.
Awesome. Woo! Another huge round of applause for Linda. Great work. This is awesome. And, these are little tweaks, but yeah, your delivery is going to be so great. I love how you speak. You're an awesome speaker. You really command the stage with your voice and your presence. Woo! I'm excited. Okay, let's move over to Dana. Dana, I'll kick this off here. This has come such a long way, Dana. Really, really great work. I really like how you just open us up with hate doesn't come from ideology. It comes from, and then I want that phrase to be really clear. I think you said our comfort with sameness, but I guess I just want that like verses to be super, super clear.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, and then it was almost all the way to the end of your talk. You started at 143, and at 151, you gave us the solution. Well, what I think is the solution is look for commonalities. So personally, I just want to move that a little sooner. It doesn't have to be a lot sooner. Maybe before the Elliot story. I just don't want us to not spend enough time in the solution, you know?
Okay.
So, yeah, and same thing with as Linda, you know, that story hooks me when you start painting the picture of your dad. So I kind of want to have that sooner too.
Got it.
Okay, who's next?
I can go. I think if you want to do what Amanda was saying with commonalities, you could put it into the Elliot story, because you say, like, he was my friend, and you can say, like, you know, to me, he was just the things we had in common. He wasn't the things that we had different. If you want to put it in that story somewhere about him being your friend.
Mm-hmm.
I thought your cadence was really good, kept us moving through the story. That was really helpful. There was one point when you were telling a story and you said, I remember the day like it was yesterday. I don't think that sentence is necessary. I think that it makes it more powerful if you take that sentence out, that you go from what you said before to what you said after, which I can't remember what those are now, but evaluate that, because that was just what I was feeling at the time. And then the other thing is, if you want to, you could switch the word bias to prejudice to bias, which is kind of a more nuanced term that's newer age, but don't do it if it's not comfortable to you. Just what I was thinking when I was listening. But you did a really good job keeping this subject not threatening, which is super hard to do. So good job there.
All right.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. Got it. Okay. Yeah, I see what you mean about I remember it like it was yesterday. Yeah, I don't. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Cool. Mary, you were shaking your head on some of those things, nodding along.
Yeah, the word bias came up while I was listening to, and I think it's a different way to be able to bring the prejudice out that maybe more people might be more familiar with now, is that bias. They might not be so resistive to bias as they are to prejudice. I guess the other question is, like, I get what you're saying, but I'm really wondering if somebody who really is steeped in prejudice, if they can hear it. And it's just, you know, something that is the message strong enough for them that if this doesn't change, and you bring out that if it doesn't change, you know, I mean, it's destroying our world. So I don't know. There was just that kind of essence of the audience, of who the audience is. I mean, if you're speaking to a lot of people who are just kind of borderline, or people who, you know, often think, yeah, I'm not prejudiced, but then as you start looking at things, oh, well, maybe I am.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I don't know if that's helpful or not. It's kind of talking around it. But I loved your delivery. I loved there were a few little things that actually made me smile in the midst of all of it. So, yeah, good job.
Okay. Got it. Thanks.
Yeah. I want to reiterate the look for commonalities. It's like such a great, simple way to combat this very complicated topic. And for that reason of making sure it gets through, that's another reason to put it in a few times as a power statement.
Yeah.
Great. Linda?
Yeah, I agree with Heather on that. I remember the day as well, so I felt that as well. And I understand what Mary is saying as well, and I kind of felt that only a couple times in what you were delivering. So first of all, I want to tell you, I love this topic, and it's great. So I really, really like it. You have really good storytelling, and the descriptions that you're using, it came right across to me. So I really loved it. There were a couple of times where I was a little taken aback with, or felt uncomfortable with, words like you, and maybe the word should be we, or something a little softer, to try not to accuse or make it less threatening, was my thought. I don't know. That was just my thought on a couple of times.
Good to know. Dana's taking it in, sort of.
Yeah, I'm glad you felt uncomfortable. That's the point. I want people to go, "Ooh, am I? Do I? Oh,
Yeah.
That's what I want." I mean, that's.
Yeah, and I think there's a balance between having people question and having people shut down.
Yeah.
Okay. I hear you. Absolutely.
Good. Very, very good.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Another round of applause for Dana. This is a very important and tough subject, and you're doing it well. Doing it well. Yeah, I'm excited. Okay, let's head on over to Mary. And let's see, Mary, here, I want to kick it off. I'm feeling really good about your stories and what we can do about this. I think the one thing that I still need to hear is an example of when you've used these new techniques and they've had some kind of payoff, some kind of result, some kind of clouds breaking, sun shining moment. Uh-oh, Mary, are you frozen? Oh, good, you're not. So I just, like, any little story, it could be 2 or 3 sentences. It might be a new character that we get to introduce to, one of the kids in your practice. But that's what I think would be the cherry on top. Who's next?
Okay, sorry I missed some of that, so hopefully I don't say stuff you already said.
Yeah, that's okay.
So I don't know if this was what you were talking about, but did you tell us what your job was somewhere else in the talk? I might not have noticed since I already know what it was, but then later you said I work with clients, and I was like, oh, maybe they don't know what you do.
I'll take care of that in the intro.
Oh, okay, great. Then you will know. And then you said at one point, you said a sentence that when I was doing research for this talk, and I think you can just take out that part of that sentence and say what you were going to say. I think it makes it a little less powerful. I really liked your use of the word hostage and cancer in the beginning. And then you keep talking about and I think you're doing this on purpose, but you keep talking about the disease and the disease and the disease. And I kind of wanted to have a name earlier than it does, but maybe you're doing that on purpose because you want me to wait. And as we discussed before, I like people to tell me things. So that's fine. But then the first time you mention it, you say you label it as fear of failure right before you label it perfectionism. And that's great. I really like that phrase. And I think it's fine that it comes first, but you said that phrase quietly. And I think that that's the first time we hear the thing we've been waiting for, if you're trying to make us wait. And I want to hear that part louder if that's going to be its first time. So there you go.
Awesome. Thanks, Gitch. Who's next?
I'll go next. I think it's okay to say, my research tells me, or I found in research, I think it's okay, but I would certainly leave out it for this talk, because, I mean, you're dealing with this all the time, so you should be finding research all the time. Mm-hmm. This is weird and picky possibly, but you start off with, you were at the museum with this son and that son, and I was, and then you get a phone call at the museum. That was a very confusing story for me. Like, I'm not sure it matters that you were at the museum. Does it matter you were with, I don't know. But I was confused, and it made me kind of drift off thinking about what does that have to do with what we're talking about. So I don't know. It could have been, I was out and I got a phone call. I don't know.
Or maybe just pop in my middle son.
Right.
You got a phone call about your middle son.
Yeah. Something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's funny. Some of the language, it's like I never say for which there is a reason. I say there's a reason. So there's some of these little, and you do it more than the rest of us. I find it when people pray in a group out loud, therefore, and they add these little words that we don't use in normal conversation. So there was a little bit of that, which I kind of thought, do you speak like that all the time? Anyway, but I love this, yes.
Yes. Good. Great. Thank you. Linda? Couple.
Yeah. I was curious when Heather mentioned it a little bit, when you became a therapist, like if it was before or after, because I don't know why. It was just in my thought process. I didn't realize. Like, I was curious. I found your story heartbreaking, touching, completely relatable. I loved the ending, the hope that's being offered. I really felt like this is something that everybody can relate to or understand, and so that was really compelling for me. And the only time that I wondered about something or felt uncomfortable was when you were talking about how it impacted you in terms of maybe a sense of guilt or blaming yourself. And you rectified it later, but that was the only time where I felt like I wanted to just reach out and be like, it's not your fault. And so just on a compassion level, it was kind of uncomfortable for me, thinking, oh my gosh, she's taken this onto herself in a lot of ways. And
was it enough so that it kind of distracted you from what she was saying? Or because she's up there speaking about this, did you say, I'm thinking she's probably going to resolve this?
I was really glad that you resolved it, Mary.
Did she resolve it soon enough too?
I mean, it did distract me in terms of my thought process, probably because I've been going through decades of therapy myself and trying not to blame myself for things. So it probably was my own internal talk, but I just wanted to
Sure.
I don't know. But I also understand that there are ways that we parent or that we can deal with things that might not be helpful. And so, if we are speaking in those ways, that, it might not be that helpful.
Yeah.
Maybe we do take some blame for that as parents.
Right.
And yet as a parent, maybe I've been like, that was the best I could do. I don't know.
Right. Okay. That's good. That's good feedback. Yeah. Excellent work, Mary. A very tough topic for you personally. You're sharing so much of your personal story on this one. So thank you.
Your delivery is great. I loved your delivery personally.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, and a couple minutes we have for Heather here. I will kick it off. Heather, I just noticed so many beautiful power statements in your talk. I really wanted to say that. And my big suggestion is, can I get some slow parts? Can I get some exclamations? Louder parts? Oh. And can I get some big gestures to drive these points home? Your voice is doing great. So it's really where can I engage your body? Yeah. Cool. Others?
I thought you had a really strong message and that all the information you gave was really clear, although it was presented kind of fast. So if there's places where you can slow down or, I don't know, modify some of it to make it, or pick the most strongest ones so that you can emphasize them more. I thought the connections you made between the stories and the way they were sandwiched in there was really good. I followed that really well. And I'm with you. Thank you.
Yay.
Really good.
I liked your delivery. I thought it was casual and authentic. I wrote down a comment that there were a couple times where I was having a hard time staying focused and paying attention. And I think maybe that was because what other people are saying, it was fast and there weren't enough like pauses or something. So maybe if there's that, then, but in terms of the casual, authentic delivery, I really picked up on that. I actually thought it was a little light on the research.
I think
So
I actually agree with
heavy
you.
on the research. I was like, oh, I thought you were light on the research.
That is one of Heather's critiques of herself. She's like, I need more research.
And I don't have any more time.
But I really loved the ending, and I definitely enjoyed the topic. So I think it's great. Good job.
Well, I just have two things, and that is, there was some to me that it seemed to me that you repeated some of the strong points that I'm not, you have a long speech, so could, maybe not repeat so much to me. And to me, I wanted more passion. You're casual, yay, you were certainly casual. You were casual. I felt like leaning back in my chair and having some popcorn. Yep, this is a good talk. It's nice. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. But I wanted to walk away going, yeah, how do we change that? How? So, and my last bit is for everybody. I think we really have to hit a home run on our last statement. Everybody needs to do that. Everyone seemed to be not, bam, it seemed more, So, anyway, yeah.
Great.
Yeah, I mean, like you were talking about this cute little kid. I mean, I wanted to see this kid. I wanted to see him. I wanted to feel this mother. And instead it was like, well, and there was this nice little boy. And he cried.
So bring out the drama, perform it. It's excellent writing.
That's my sister is the performer.
Yeah, I got all the performing genes. Sorry, what can you do? No, you have it in you. The fire is in you.
Well, and I don't think you need to, is it this way or is it that way? It's I just
Amanda wants to leave that to me. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I know. I know her. I haven't known her as long as you do, but I know her. But just that this is important. When you start talking, I want to go, this is an important subject. I need to hear this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that really, truly, Dana, thank you for that, because there really is a note for everybody. And that's why, it's so great that we have this dress rehearsal next week, because, this is just from the neck up, but your whole body needs to be saying this message all week long. So boom, we get to Thursday and it is just on fire, and the important stuff comes out, the passion comes out, the punches in the face comes out. These are such important topics, and we've been in our head about them, but you guys have a stage, you guys have a message, you have an audience that needs to hear this, both in the room that night and on video for the rest of your lives. So
no pressure.
Yeah, I don't want to say no pressure. I want to say medium pressure. Okay, let's turn it up to meet the medium pressure, and we'll get a chance to practice that next week. So in the meantime, make your little tweaks. Do not gut your talk. They're all excellent. If you had to give them tomorrow, I would be thrilled with them. Just move a couple things if you need to, and tell your body and your voice and get those big moments in that we talked about last week, okay? Okay, much love. Have fun outlining, and we'll see you in person at the CBC Bank next week at 1. All right, great job, y'all. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.